Hey guys, Dwayne from Tour Marketing. Wanted to go through LinkedIn marketing today. I'm your resident data geek, so I do all the back end nerdy stuff, trying to ultimately get all the data and all the digital systems sorted for our clients. Today, I wanted to go through what we do for ourselves. So we're in the marketing space. Probably one of the I'd have to say the hardest advertising spaces to advertise in, just because everyone's competing for the same audience, and we have to pay quite a lot more than it would be for all our clients, just because the media noise and the audience is really, really fought over from the other agencies in the industry. Today, with LinkedIn, I wanted to go through a few different aspects. And what we're trying to ultimately do is get more touch points, get more inquiries for our clients, and this is exactly the same as what we do for ourselves. So this is the basic little model which we've built out. It's really simplified, and it's part of our standard proposal, which I throw to clients. But each element of these really fleshes out. But the idea is to get to a customer purchase, and there's a bit of a journey which we go through to get to that. So you got your inquiry from a visitor, you got your social stuff, so Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatever it may be. You got your search, that's Google, and then we've got our digital ads and retargeting. So today we're going to focus on the LinkedIn aspect to try and drive traffic either to a few different aspects, to our personal profiles, to our company LinkedIn profile, to a landing page within which has been built specifically for the messaging which we're advertising in that particular medium, to then drive to a broader awareness to our website. Once we've got them on the website, we then can pixel them and then throw them back into the retargeting engine, so that we can then saturate their attention and awareness, to ultimately come back to our landing page and make that inquiry, for which then rolls into our analytics and reporting, ability to send out marketing automation elements to the database and lead nurturing. We can then start to tighten their profile based on behavioral aspects of what they're doing on a digital front. So if they're visiting particular pages, they've come in from particular mediums, or they've filled out something on the form, we can then adjust all the content dynamically, which is then refed out to them either through the remarketing or our email marketing systems. Once we figure out who they are, what we're doing, we can then start to adjust them as our status as we go through our CRM, and then that ultimately rolls into our consultant sales process. And that's another huge kettle of fish, which I won't go into today. But LinkedIn. So going into this, we've got our company page all set up. So we've got Tour Marketing company profile. We're looking at things from my management perspective. Now, we set this up for our clients, and so that they can do it themselves, as well as we do all the managed services for them. So in this page, it makes it all glossy. We've got our little icon, because Tour Marketing as a logo is very, very crowded. We then use our thumbnail logo. We've got all our content, which we slowly have been populating through. We've been rather lazy, and we've made an effort this year that we're going to do a lot more social media content posting. Up till recently, we've been very much a wholesale marketing agency, looking after all the other agencies in the industry with their clients, and we really want to get back into the nitty-gritty frontline stuff. There is three core ways that we can advertise on LinkedIn. So you've got posting stuff into your company profile. So we can then type into a post into here, upload a photo, video, or do an article. LinkedIn loves their posting content into their systems. The second one option is what we're going to go through today, which is the advertising aspect under work. And that goes into the in-house campaign managers, which is, if we were to go into the systems, good example, this is a promoted advertising advert, which is shown within the content feed. And the third option is programmatic advertising, where you see all the extended stuff, which is external. So like you got this ad up the top here. We can then put in ads into the right-hand side, as well as I think, you on your article pages or your news articles or anything along those lines, that can be thrown in as well. So we've got a few different aspects of advertising which we've got at our fingertips. I would highly recommend everyone to get, I've got a premium account for LinkedIn, and then that's connected to the company profile. So it just builds weight and authority of who you are in the industry, as well as you get a lot more tools with LinkedIn, so you can then start doing things. All right, advertising. So today I have a landing page. So I wanted to go through a campaign which I've just set up this week. So there's only a little bit of data in there, but enough to get the ball rolling. So what we're looking at here, before I start clicking through and not explaining what I'm doing, we can then manage multiple accounts. So I've got a few other companies in there which which I'm involved with, which I do all the advertising for internally. We set up these also for our clients. So you're not going to see any client stuff in here, but it's connected with our tool marketing page, currently active, created earlier in the year, but just haven't been using it. And then we can see our data. You can see all the statistics and information as we go through. Clicking into our campaign group, this will then show us our campaign groups, our individual campaigns clustered by groups. So at the moment, I'm kind of deactivating this old tester, which I can just, I won't go into it too much fiddly. Jump into our lead generation. Our latest campaign is to drive traffic to our marketing strategy workshop call to action. So effectively, we look after all the lead generation for our clients, and this is going into ultimately people to fill in this form, and we will then start compiling a bit of a strategy and report around what we can do, where the clients are at any given time, as well as how we'd go out and build that strategy for them. I won't go through our own today, just more touching base on what we can use LinkedIn as a tool. So back to our campaigns. I've got two core campaigns which are running. I've got our videos campaign and then our static graphic campaign. So if we can jump into our static campaign, I then have our two A/B testing, one with both of them with female talent, which we're using to either capture the attention of who we're looking at. I try to get people that will look out on the screen, but within context of whatever they're doing, as well as the collateral. And I can click on this aspect, so we can then, I don't want to pause the campaign. Let's manage one of these ads. I've built this campaign out already. So on the left-hand side, we've got our setup campaign. So our objective is to get website traffic. Our audience, and this is all contained, so you can just click on one of these and it'll scroll down. I've got a saved audience in here, which I've been a little bit more particular with. So I only want to, at this stage, speak to people in Melbourne. I can then exclude different elements of Melbourne or Victoria where I don't want to be chasing. This is the audience that I want to chase. So these are the industries that I want to be speaking to. And then I can add in an additional refinement of those in those industries. I only want to speak to people with seniorities of these particular roles. So you may notice that these are either senior or executive roles. So CXO, directors, senior, so that's usually just senior managers, owners, partners, or VPs. That's a very American way of handling stuff. Or, which is where it's one of this, or with job functions of business development or sales. So we're looking after people in the sales industry. We want to be speaking to those who are wanting more leads. Moving further down, we can then refine based on the industries which they're associated with. So we typically don't work with small businesses because they haven't got the desire or the technical capability to outsource to a little bit more sophisticated model. But we try to work between medium to larger organizations. Don't necessarily want to go over 200 because the politics involved in that, and that's usually ASX listed organizations. But this is our sweet spot we've discovered internally. We can add in any more additional stuff in here. So you've got the ability to then go into specific companies. If you want to build out a specific campaign for a very, very specific company or a company connections which are associated with yourself. The demographics being the age group based on what the user has put in based on their birth date and their gender. Sometimes this is available, sometimes it's not. So you have to be very careful not to discriminate. Same deal with when you're working with Facebook. Facebook's gotten even worse now. Education side, so fields of study. Maybe you want to speak to someone in a particular industry. So, for instance, I've clicked in the shortlist of business. You can then pull up all the education that's usually linked to your university, which is associated with it. If you go over my LinkedIn profile, you'll see that I've filled out as much as I can because I only want to see content which is relevant for myself. I don't want to be getting recruiter messages or anything like that. Members of schools, same deal. I'm a Monash guy. Monash. So you can then go, all right, show me Monash business schools and stuff like that. If you wanted to do a very, very bespoke message towards maybe a Monash alumni, you can then go after that particular audience. Job experience, that's where I was tying into my seniorities or the job functions. Rather useful if you're looking after or chasing a particular industry, which is either accounting or your services are very, very niche. You want to go after that. So your job functions could be accounting, administration, business development, consulting, education, whatever it may be within that organization. It's all possible. Same with interests. This gets a little bit noisier, but for the likes of me, I might be going property development. And then we can then go through all these groups. And you can advertise based on the association of if someone is following involved in certain groups. So I can then go, all right, advertise my project marketing services to everyone in these industries or have been associated with these groups, limited by those roles within those industries in that geographic region. You can start really drilling in, and the more refined it is, the better it is. You may notice that my audience went from about 40,000 down to 620. So I don't want to do any of that. Let's get rid of all you. You can just click on this stuff and just kill it off. And now we're back up to, I may have something else selected still. It's not liking me. Get rid of that altogether. Then you can go through functions that you do not want. So I don't necessarily with this one want to be speaking to anyone in research, arts, community, HR, quality control, media communications, or the like. Sometimes I might be wanting to advertise to the organizations in media and communications. So I just don't want to be advertising or wasting money to other marketing agencies in the industry. You can then also turn on and off this enable audience expansion. That gives you a little bit more broader scope and it just gives you a little bit more flexibility. And then when we come to your ad type format, so you've got a few different options when it comes to this. So you've got single image, carousel, video ads, text ads, and the likes. You kind of need to set that up from campaign level. So you can't have a campaign which has a blend of one or the other. So you have, for instance, you may have saw earlier that I had a campaign dedicated to the video ad. I can't have a blend within one campaign of single images and videos within the same campaign. A little bit of an annoyance, but it must be a structural thing which LinkedIn have all built out. Moving on, you've got placement, so LinkedIn Audience Network. I don't really use this too much, but this is the extension of using the likes of LinkedIn's extended apps and partner apps, as well as their websites. It's similar to like how Google search has their integrated search tools into other platforms. So for instance, if you had Firefox browser and you went to Google on that, there's actually an embedded Google search engine within Firefox, and that's part of their extended network and all that noise. I don't want to be advertising in that, and it's a little bit less control. So I try to turn off all this aspect. Daily budgets. This is I get $25 on this, and it's pretty much open. But I can then set a start and end finish, as well as specify my automated bid, enhanced CPC bid, or a maximum cost per impression. So that'd be like only advertised to a group, where I can then have a maximum of $100 per 1,000 impressions. So I can then contain it, I can then budget it so that I want to. But you'll find that when you start going down that lines, you may get a lot lower quality targeting. Typically, those who are in high demand are going to be more expensive to target than the low quality ones. So I leave it open to automated bidding. Conversion tracking. So I've got a specific page on my landing page, which after someone submits a form, they get retargeted to, and that will then trigger off a notification to LinkedIn that will then say, hey, that person which visited your website from LinkedIn has now been converted into a prospect. And that will then tie into one, conversion optimization, so that LinkedIn can get better quality learnings, as well as two, you can then start doing a bit of cost benefit analysis, so you can then start tying that all in. We then step into our ad types. So this is me setting up my ads. So I've got two A/B testing ads, which I've got set up in the moment. So I've got a dark one and a light green one. And we can preview these. So we can click on that and we can open them up. So this is my primary ad. And my structure to my ads are pretty much templated. So I create the problem. So is your sales team sitting on their hands? Okay. Is your sales team lazy? They just got nothing to do? Maximize your sales team's performance to get more. So I'm doing a leading statement to get them to think about how we could get them to get off their hands, and which will then ultimately give benefit to the organization of greater revenue. Then I go into who we are. We detail a strategy to learn more about what you're doing, and then build a strategic plan to maximize the return of investment over your whole organization. So it's not just giving you leads, but we do a systematic model to get your leads, high quality leads, which are relevant to your audience, through to conversion. So, okay, conversion on a digital front being they made an inquiry that comes into the CRM. We build out the lead nurturing model so that we get a higher quality engagement. We do all the retargeting aspects to make sure that they're brand aware. So when your consultant does pick up the phone and give them a call, they know who they are, what they're doing, and the purpose of the call. And then we do like a digital nurturing campaign to make sure that they're doing that. You're cementing in education, brand, and trust. So that's all of that accumulates to brand authority and increases the likelihood of your sales consultant being able to convert them over. Once they're converted, then we have a post-purchase journey as well, which ties them into making sure that they're a successful client. And 80% of our referrals in our industry come from prospects which are going from the contract signing through to handover, but not yet handed over yet. If you can emphasize the emotional value and the excitement of whatever they may do, they're very proud of their achievements, and we try to nurture that excitement as much as possible. But getting onto this, we've got going back to the image, we've got a contrast of colors. So this is the black versus the background. A friendly, approachable, professional, what could be considered maybe middle management at their laptop in a work environment. You can look past that person, as well as this is what we call a lead magnet. So you're going to go there and you will most likely be able to get not just a strategy session, but something of value as a result of making that inquiry. Getting out of this one, this is the alternative one, and I'll go through the performance of both of these at the moment. So we've got a couple of days worth of performance, and one is definitely performing better than the other. This is the alternative A/B test, where it's we've got the contrast in green. So you may notice I've got that part of our color palette, which is black and green, and this is designed to be a little bit more junior impressions. So this would be more like a marketing coordinator or low to middle management personality. Again, you may notice it's a female talent. We find that when we use female versus male, you're more likely to find them more approachable, friendly, and actually more engaging. Just statistics, nothing to be discriminative against. It's just the effectiveness of these ads are amazing when we change up the talent side of things. Now, same messaging we got up here, but different color palette. And we try to do that different color palette because as it goes through the feed, the green really stands out, whereas the black kind of blends in. But what we've discovered, and I can go over what we're looking at, this is also the statistics of what we got going for the campaign and what was the anticipated target audience and what we anticipate to get the click-throughs. We try to aim for a 2% conversion rate on our landing page as a bare minimum. So based on 100 over 2%, we're looking at 2 leads. Times that by 3, that would be 6 leads. But cost per lead, for us in a B2B world, that's pretty good. If we're looking at $400 to $900, well, $900 divided by 6, $150. I have to say that's a pretty good opportunity when we try to get our clients on. Well, once we get a client, the life cycle of a client is usually sitting around 12 months for the initial campaign, but that's on one aspect. But when we got all the other services that we offer, the return on investment on this stuff is mind-boggling. So yeah, that also varies depending on the audience. But if you're like for 1,000, so even if we look at it as worst case scenario, and we only get 2 leads from 900, my return on investment on that for a new prospect which will come through, even if I can give it one of 2 of those, 1 lead to me is worth $900. I can assure you that. If I can get a 12-month relationship out of a new prospect. Stepping back, we can then see the statistics of what we're looking at. If I drill into these ads, and it will give me what we've spent on each of those ad breakdowns, the impressions. Now, I looked at this yesterday, and this ad had a majority of the impressions, but the cost per 1,000 was far, far higher than this one here, which is our black banner one. And we've spent less to get double the amount of impressions, although this one has already had a click-through. Now, that's based on engagement or how LinkedIn deems this more relevant than this one here. Now, their algorithm, I am still trying to figure out, as everyone else is, of what they deem as relevance. But the best way to figure it out is you build out heaps and heaps of these different types of ads, and you just A/B test them, and you got to keep these ads fresh and repeating them so that we know what is best, and we start learning based on these algorithms of costs. So if we know that the cost is low, we know that the advertising medium likes it a lot more than we would with this one, which is costing us more. And the last thing I want to be doing is spending more money on more advertising. That said, if I get a lead from this, because I got a walkthrough, I'm still going to advertise that. I'm going to leave it on. Also, it adds contrast to the feed. Now, we were looking at the ads. We have another alternative one, which is our video. Video has 2 to 3 times more engagement, and you'll find that the cost per impression is going to be far, far less. So we're looking at this video. I just launched this morning, literally an hour ago, and this is our new advertising ad, and it's 15 seconds. Same messaging is your, and I think it starts with, is your sales team sitting on their hands? There you go. Get a proposal, animation. We're filling up the phone with leads, and then it then ties into the solution. Send your sales team more leads. Create the problem, offer the solution. same model. Now, this is just the preview mode. So how this actually looks in the world of the front end. So we can then jump into this. Same deal. I've got this, I think it's spending at $15 per day, but the statistics of that is far, far better. And I'm also retargeting the same audience. So we will start the audience which I'm advertising to will not just see one static type of ad, they'll see various different types of ads. In the course of over the next 30 days, I'm a good chance I'm going to get a good 50% of this audience based on 20,000. And same with the impression rate. We're sitting at 51%, so it's going to be, we're looking at 1.25 at a ratio. So it's going to have 125% impression to the audience rate. All right, to preview this in the front end, so what that would look like on desktop in this case, we've got our video as well as our primary call to actions down the bottom. You got audio, but I don't put audio on my ads. And then you've got the same view on mobile. Now, you'll notice that this is a square ad. We try to keep these as 1.1 because 70% of our traffic in this medium is on mobile. And by having it as a 1 by 1, you actually get a much larger screen footprint. And we try to, one, get a few likes as much as possible in commentary down the bottom, which adds credibility to the ad, as well as we've got 16 followers, and at the moment, Oz or myself will follow our own page. I have a very, very large seeding of followers in the industry. I think I've got coming out to 11 to 12,000 connections. There's a high possibility that someone who follows our organization, this will start to flesh out. So they'll see Dwayne Taylor follows this organization at the top as it comes up in their feed, as well as we start building this out, the ad itself will slowly get bigger and bigger as the content starts to flesh out. And that just takes time. And you'll notice that after, probably a week or so, that you'll get maybe some engagement, so comments, likes or shares, and those little statistics will then start adding up at the bottom there. But overall, the whole premise is to get to this landing page and get them to engage. So we've got a 120-second timer, which pops up after they've visited, or all these buttons then will come up with this form. Clear, concise messaging for the call to action, as well as this is our lead magnet here. This is a little bit bigger landing page, and this is very, very niche to ourselves, but we've got different strategies and different landing pages per each of our industry. So it kind of varies, and we figure it out accordingly. The other big thing is UTM tracking. So we build out custom UTMs based on our audience. So this, for instance, if I was to throw this in, this is our URL, which we've got coming in from our video, and we've then do this all container. This is important for our Google Analytics and attributions. So we can then, all this gets fed into our Google Analytics, as well as when someone inquires, all this gets seeded against that inquiry in our CRM, so Salesforce in this case. So all of this information, the more rich the data, the more we can learn, the more we can retarget. As someone engages with this page, then they'll be retargeted with all these additional ads, be it on Facebook, LinkedIn, Google ads, as well as where we've got our display network. But it all starts with getting your LinkedIn up and running and building out the strategy. So if you need any assistance on this front, I talk a lot. Obviously, it's been 28 minutes since you've been listening to this, but if you need any assistance, reach out and we can get you all set up. All right, guys. Look forward to working with you. Cheers.